I love going to conventions, be it card conventions, comic convention, toy conventions, you name it. I've been doing it for 20 years, and in that time, I've learned a ton and I've made a ton of mistakes. Before you go to your next convention, you need to watch this video so that you don't make the same mistakes I did. Seriously, don't do it. Ready? Let's do this. What's up, everybody? My name is Matt, often called Big Nerdy. We are the NWO, the Nerd World Order, and this is Nerdzoic. You know, it's funny, despite my love of conventions, there was an 8-year gap in there when I didn't go to any conventions at all. For those of you who follow the channel for a while, you know that from about 2003 to 2009, I wasn't heavily into collecting because I was just too cool for it. And also, I was out of space. And when I bought my house in 2009 and put up a collecting room and got all my stuff out, the itch hit me again. And I was starting to get the con itch too. As I got back into collecting, I really missed the big event, the convention part of collecting. I hadn't been to a convention in years, and I really wanted to, because stores weren't really carrying product then. I mean, compared to now, they were carrying a ton of product, but it didn't feel like a lot of product for a guy who grew up in the episode 1, episode 2 era, when like the stores had a whole aisle of Star Wars, basically. Between getting back into collecting, getting my stuff out of storage, I really had the itch. It didn't take much to get me back into the con game, but what it took was my brother-in-law, Andrew, what's up, Andrew, actually kind of asked my sister, hey, do you think your boyfriend, or was I a fiance then? I might have been, I don't remember exactly. Matt will take us all to Wizard World. He used to go to that stuff, right? And she asked me, I'm like, yeah, sure, let's do it. We got to the con, we had our nerd gear on. Here's a picture of my wife and I outside the con. Well, she wasn't my wife then, she was my fiance, and we've grown up a lot since then in 10 years, that happens. But yeah, I remember getting into the con, and that's when it hit me. And when I say it hit me, it hit me. I felt like I was gonna cry, just going through and seeing all these toys again, and seeing and feeling like all the excitement, the cosplay, all the different vendors, the smell of the toys when you put them up near your nose, like that, it really hit me hard, and I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe how badly I missed this. I needed a drink. I forgot how bad it was. I literally went to go get a drink. I paid $5 for a bottle of water. So my first tip for you is pack drinks before you go to a convention. Water, specifically. Have a big jug, fill it with ice before you get there, and you can refill it throughout the day. It'll save you a ton of money. Pack a couple of snacks as well, because you're going to be hungry and you don't want to waste money on convention food because it's not cheap. In fact, for food in general, always leave the building. Not only is the food going to be better, it's probably going to be cheaper. And if you're at a con that's in like a big city, there's probably going to be some really good food near there. All right, back to the story. So I'm in the con, and at this point, I know I'm back. I know I'm full hardcore back into collecting. I know I'm full hardcore back into cons, because I didn't realize how badly I was missing this in my life. In fact, I vividly remember like bending over to tell my wife, my fiance Anna, that I need this in my life. I didn't know how badly I missed it. And to my surprise, she said, good, I'm happy. I'm glad that you feel this way. And she encouraged my collecting, within reason, of course. But yeah, that's one of the great things about her. She's amazing. This moment, this single conversation with Anna, was a huge moment for my entire collecting life. And it was the beginning of me not just dipping my toe back into collecting, but getting full hardcore into it and getting back onto the con circuit even. But I made a mistake. I went to this con, it was kind of like I said, a spur of the moment thing. I didn't really have a plan. I just wanted to go, and I forgot what it was like, and I just went in, and then I saw all the stuff, and I ended up buying a duplicate item. Specifically, it was Droopy McCool here from the Max Rebo band that I bought twice. After I sold Max Rebo on eBay, I made a promise to myself to never again go to a con without a plan of what I needed or wanted to buy. And you might be able to guess this, but that's my second tip. Always have a plan when you go to a convention. That includes first a wish list. You can even email some of the vendors that you know are going to be there ahead of time to say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Will you have it? What will the price be? You should have a budget to go with that plan. And don't just make the budget for toys. Make sure you account for things like gas, tolls, travel, food, all of it, everything, because it's all one big giant thing. And frankly, the less you can spend on food, tolls, gas, the more you can spend on stuff. Speaking of saving, book your hotel early. The earlier you book it, the closer you can get to the convention, and that is really important. It's not a matter of like being lazy and not wanting to walk or travel. The closer you are, the better conventioning will be. I'll explain why here momentarily. And if you book early, usually you can get like a group discounted rate that's part of the convention. You should also have a plan to meet any of your virtual friends. Anybody you've been talking to in message boards or online within the collecting community, if they're going to be there, make a plan ahead of time. Be like, hey, let's meet up Saturday night after the doors close. I'll meet you I don't know, here, have all that planned out ahead of time. And lastly, long before you go, I always make a packing list. So that includes everything that needs to go, as well as my bag. Which brings me to tip number 3, which is packing smart. First of all, clothes. It can get hot in cons, so ideal clothing, t-shirt, shorts if possible, if the weather allows. Make sure that if you're a bigger guy, you are comfortable. It's not always easy because sometimes you get that chafing thing going on. I know all about that, baby powder. Sneakers. All right, dad sneaks like New Balance, any kind of walking or running shoe, those are always best. Make sure you're wearing socks so your feet don't get sweaty. As far as making sure you have pockets and whatever your pants or shorts are, super important so you can carry your money. And then backpack, one of the most important things. I like to have as big as a backpack as possible because it carries my water bottle, it carries, hold on, I got a list. It carries my battery pack for my phone because you don't want your phone to die in the middle of this. That's really a pain in the butt because you can't look up prices, Tylenol, hand sanitizer, and then the aforementioned snacks, of course. One other thing I always pack is I pack like either extra vitamin C vitamins or the airborne vitamin C boost because there's a ton of germs, and I'm not a germphobe or anything, but I don't like getting sick. So I'll pop a couple of them days before leading up, and my immune system's supercharged heading into the con. Last but not least, consider bringing a separate camera other than your phone because of battery life. Whatever you do though, grab something to keep it around your neck. If you can carry your phone around your neck as a camera, it makes it really easy to pull it up for pictures, and you're gonna wanna take pictures. All right, back to my con story here. So at this point, like I said, after that con, I was committed to being on the con circuit. I was gonna do it, and I wanted to start going to all of them. The next one though wasn't until a year later. It was 2012, and I was Wizard World again. But this time, I really wanted to get an autograph, one in particular, and that autograph was Stan the Man Lee. I wanted to do the autograph, and I wanted to get a picture with him. And I gotta tell you, I decided, whoa, that price is too much. I'll get him next year. Don't do that, okay? Make sure you're prepared and plan your autographs because you don't know if some of these people who are your heroes are gonna be with us in a year or two. Especially like me, I'm an idiot. Stan was 90 years old. Even a guy in great health, 90's pushing towards the end. And I really regret missing that, and it's not the first time I did that. In 2002, I passed on Carrie Fisher because I was, frankly, spending all my money on other stuff. Now I'll never be able to go back and get that, like with her, because I don't just want an autograph. For me, the autograph's only part of it. Getting the picture with the person, that's more important than anything else, creating that memory. So that's tip 4. Make sure you think through your autographs. Plan it out. Don't be cheap, be prepared. Always spring to get the package where you can get a picture with them, and bring a pen. When it comes to pens, you don't want to use a Sharpie. Sharpies will literally fade over time and look like garbage. You specifically want a paint pen. They have to be shaken up before you can give it to the guy to autograph, but they look really cool on figures. They look cool on sports cards, comics. Always use that, not a Sharpie. Make sure you bring it with you because they won't have it available. And in the age of germs, COVID, pandemic, you might not even be able to open it. They might not accept it. So bring a sealed one just in case. And shake it up ahead of time. Oh, and whatever you're getting autographed, make sure you have something in your bag to protect it after the autograph. Whether it's a clamshell, a hard shell case, if it's a card, make sure you have a top loader, something. Because that's the last thing you want is to pay for something like that and then have it get ruined. Speaking of that old celebration, I do have another tip for you, which is tip number 5, and that is to make sure you get the most bang for your buck by negotiating and shopping smart. Here's some rules that go along with this. 1, never pay sticker price. Everything's negotiable. Almost every dealer marks things higher than they're willing to sell them for, so always try to negotiate and say, hey, what's your best price on this? That's the best, little line tip I can give you. What's your best price on this? Rule number 2, stick to the plan. Yes, deals do come up and you say, oh, I wasn't planning on buying this today, but I can't pass on it for that price. But your plan has to take priority or else you might feel regret when you go home. Rule 3, don't waste your time with unreasonable vendors. If their prices are high and they're not budging, it's not worth your time to sit there. They're obviously not willing to make a deal. They're trying to find somebody who doesn't know any better. You're smarter than that. Go on to somebody else. Rule number 4, look low. Whether it's dollar bins or just plastic bins under the table in the front, most vendors place their lower price stuff at the bottom, and you can often find really good deals in here, especially towards the end of the con when things just sit there and nobody really wants to look anymore and the vendor just wants to get rid of them, and you'll be like, hey, how much for 4 of those? And I'll cut you a price break. Rule 5, Know when to walk away. If you don't like the deal and the vendor's not budging, even if they budge a little but you know it's still over market price, walk away. Never, ever, ever pay over market price. eBay is your friend. Look at sold listings right there at the con, and don't pay over what you could pay online with shipping. That would be kind of a waste of money. And frankly, you can always just say to the vendor, hey, listen, man, market price is this. I realize I don't have to pay shipping if I buy it for you, so I'm happy to pay market price plus, the $5 that I would pay to get it shipped, but I'm not paying over that. I'd be an idiot. And most of the time, they know they're dealing with a shrewd buyer at that point. If you're not lying to them or manipulating market price, they're going to let you have it for that price, at least in my experience. Lastly, Sunday is fun day, especially with bulky items. Vendors mark stuff down because they don't want to carry it home. So this is your day to make deals and get good bargains. If you want to make the most out of every con, plan not to sleep. That's tip number 6. Be early and prepared every single day. That means you're not going to get much sleep during the convention. It's just how it is. Every day, be early. Wear deodorant and have gum. Don't be the person that smells. Have cash. Every day, make sure you're replenished. First of all, you need to have small bills. Keep it in a roll, not a wallet. Wrap it in a rubber band like you're in the mob. And frankly, it makes it a lot easier to do it quickly. And people will often make you better deals with cash because they don't have to pay the transaction fee. And that adds up after a while, more than you'd think. Speaking of a plan, have planned points throughout the day to return either to your hotel room or to your vehicle to drop stuff off. As you make purchases, you don't want to carry that crap all day. Make plans with specific times to go drop stuff off and try to buy the bigger things if possible, like right before those times, so you're not carrying around an AT-AT throughout a toy convention. Tip number 7 is my final tip, and that is to have an exit plan. You need a plan to have how to get the stuff that you buy home. You also need to have a plan to rest when you're done. Never go back to work on Monday after a long convention. You need a day to recover. But let's go back to how to get stuff home. A lot of the time they'll have shipping stations outside the con, and those places rip you off. They head to a post office or head to a UPS store. Post office, ideally, UPS store is your second option. Ship either priority or UPS ground to ship stuff back to you. This might sound crazy, like really, why wouldn't I just carry it? But there's times where you don't want to carry this stuff with you. Great example of this, it's not a convention, but in high school, we went on a senior class trip to Disney World. Yeah, pretty crazy high school. But I remember vividly going to the Star Wars shop at the Star Wars area, and it's nothing like it was now then. But I got the Darth Vader and Darth Maul Masters of Evil 2-pack. I don't love 12-inch figures, but I love this thing. And frankly, it was a lot of work to get home. And I love unhelmeted Vader. So yeah, as you can see, it's big. That was hard to take home on a plane and kind of stupid. I should have just mailed it. Instead, I smuggled it into my suitcase because I didn't want any of my other high school people to see, because I was still kind of quiet with my nerdiness. I didn't fly my nerd flag high. I didn't want the muggles to judge me. So I stuck it in my suitcase, wrapped it in clothes, and I ended up having to take extra stuff in my carry-on to try to make it work. It was a mess. By the time I got home, I was exhausted. Luckily, it made it back in one piece, but it would have been so much cheaper and smarter to pay, at that point, $10 to have it shipped home. Have fun. That is really the most important part of going to conventions. For me, the next big adventure for me with conventions is going to be introducing my children to them. As long as we're talking about collecting mistakes and regrets, check out this video that's on your screen up here somewhere that will go over my biggest collecting regrets, and I think you'll get a lot out of it. Till next time, remember, you have to get old, but you don't have to grow up. Just be cool and stay nerdy. Later.